1,000 days of lessons for discipline, 10,000 days of lessons for mastery. I didn't say that. Miyamoto Musashi said that, the most famous of all Japanese samurai. Again, never defeated in battle, with many, many one-on-one fights to the death. And if anyone knows what discipline and mastery of all are all about, it is Miyamoto Musashi. People say, how long will it take for me to master these charts? And I just say, it'll take as long as it takes. We only ask 10 to 15 minutes each and every day. And my friends, once you master this, you will make up very quickly for all the time it ever took you to do so. So don't worry about how long it takes. Get started today. And if you are started, stick with it until you master it. Let's jump into these charts. Oh, by the way, Patreon members, this Wednesday, 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time here in the States. If you haven't already sent me your questions, the ETFs or stocks you'd like us to backtrack for you, please email me, cw@chartingwealth.com, if you want to join in on that. Believe we still have a few slots left, even at our lowest level. That is the $30 a month level. Check that out. Of course, the first thing you'll get of the mini trainings is the 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way. Let's jump into these charts. Stocks are down. Gold and Bitcoin are down. Bonds are up. Let's look first at the S&P 500 as per SPY. Down for the day 1.14%. We see the STC has not changed. We had a little bit of down move for the day after a nice bump up. We are below the 200 EMA, so we're looking for a short move. We're looking to see if we're going to go red like we did before. And of course, we had a nice little 3.27% gain in that last short move. Is that going to happen again? It might. If it does, we will be ready for it. You notice we didn't take this last one. Why? Because we didn't have a down move in the STC. We had a little short one there, but since it didn't drop, it just went sideways. We didn't get suckered in. So we shall see how things go. Remember, we are up on the 2-day chart, and again, haven't reached that high from all the way back on the 27th of June. And we look at the weekly, and of course, the STC is still negative there. So we are positive on the 2-day, negative on the weekly, positive on the half-day. So that puts us at a minus 10 on the success multiplier formula. We'll see where that takes us. Now, let's move on from the S&P 500 to the NASDAQ 100. It was down a little bit more, about double, 2.14% down for the day. Now, when we look at things, what do we see? Again, we had a little short, things sideways and then dropped over, stayed down a little bit, didn't do all that much for us. In fact, we didn't gain anything, ended up losing 2.63% there. We pulled that, of course, on that second day when we had things go against us. But again, can't win them all. Up through June the 15th, I had run the numbers. We were up 11.15% after 8 trades so far in the year. 4 of those did not work for us. 4 of them did. And again, minimize your losses, maximize your gains, 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio. We find that it works over and over and over again quite nicely. If I make 5.02% on one trade and lose 2.63% on another, I'm still up quite nicely again. So what do? You make sure you set your profit and loss bands. I'll put that training at the end of today's video for you so you understand how we use the average true range to set our profit and loss bands. Extremely important. But where are we on the NASDAQ 100? We don't have a buy-in point yet. Things have not crossed over on the STC. The 2-day, like the S&P 500, is up. The weekly is not up. We do have a green candle trying to form, even though it was down for the day. Remember, these are Heiken Ashi candlesticks. They are calculated differently. Great training on Heiken Ashi candlesticks. In fact, it is, if not the most popular on the web, one of the most popular. I would encourage you to take that. Look up Heiken Ashi candlesticks, Heiken. Then there's a space, ASHI, and Charting Wealth. You'll find it. I would urge you to take it. So we're again at a -10 on this potential trade for the success multiplier formula. If we have a crossover going down, of course, it will go to -11. That's what we're waiting for. Prepare to pull the trigger if the trade is offered on your practice account. Remember, we're not a stock calling service. We're an education firm. Now, let's move from stocks to bonds. What do we have happen in bonds? Our trade did not work for us. We jumped in as things moved over, going down, moved down for actually another day, and then rotated back over up on us in the morning. So we again pulled that with a small loss. Didn't take the whole 1.59% loss, but it did pull over and started drawing that green candle. Time to pull it. We'll wait and see if things will cross back over again. But again, we saw things pull up on us there. Now, could you hang in there and stay? Absolutely, you could. It hasn't hit our whole loss band. I don't tend to do that. We've been experimenting back and forth on how that works. And again, I prefer, if it goes green on me and the trade's not working, to get out and wait for better possibilities. It's just what I do. You don't have to do it. You can experiment around and do what works for you. When we look at where the rest of 20-year bonds are, up on the 2-day, and of course down on the weekly. Very similar to what we're seeing with the STC when it comes to stocks. Now, let's keep moving through these charts and move on to move from bonds to gold. Look at gold. Gold down for the day, 0.54%. We had a nice down trade in gold, 1.72%. Now, that prior gold trade did not work for us. We lost a little bit there. What was that? 0.29% on the one that didn't work, but made up for that with a 1.72% in a few days on this last down move. Of course, has it continued on down? Yes, it did, but we set our 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. We took our profit and we got out. That is another thing I'd encourage you to look at. When you go back and backtrack, you know what you'll find so many times is that 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, taking that reward at a 2-to-1 multiplier of the average true range over and over again works for you instead of against you. Yes, sometimes you'll have these longer runs, but so many times you'll see that staying in with the bounce backs that can occur typically doesn't work for you. But you come up with another way to play this. Maybe you sell half your position, you let the rest of it ride. Any number of things you can do, I encourage you to try. But we've seen the results with what we do, and it tends to work time and time again. You prove it to yourself. Maybe come up with a better way. I'm always ears for anything anyone will offer if it works better than what I'm already doing. So we look at gold and we see that it appears to be sort of bottoming out here right around the 161 mark or so. We'll see. Maybe it's just saving up to go down again. Maybe it's finding a floor. We look at the 2-day. We can see again right there around the same mark. Let's take a look at the weekly. Again, so far, 1 day into this week, about the same place. So we'll see where gold's going to bottom out. We don't know yet. We'll just wait, watch, and see. Lastly, we go to Bitcoin. Whew. On XBTF, that is the VanEck ETF Trust, we see Bitcoin down for the day 6.22%. Gone up for a few days and then rotating over. Hasn't hit the low, the most recent low yet, but again, back in the red heading down. What are we waiting for? Well, we are well below the 200 EMA on Bitcoin. We're going to have to move above that before we'd look at any potential long plays. And then we'd also have to deal with the fact that we're still very red on the 2-day. And of course, we are red on the weekly. And again, as we look at where Bitcoin has come from, again, quite a ways to build back up. That is where we are. We so appreciate you being with us. We love to hear from you. CW at chartingwealth.com. I can't wait to spend time with the Patreon members at 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time on Wednesday. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.